apologize for my tardiness. So I have testified a few times, and we've submitted written testimony before, and I don't want to rehash things we've already said, so there's just a few points I want to make. One is we appreciate the changes that the commission has made in response to some of the concerns we've levied, and I don't want to minimize that. What I do want to emphasize, though, is that what continues to be missed is what is the overarching purpose of introducing this risk assessment tool, and what is it that the commission hopes to see as a result of the risk assessment tool. One of the concerns, obviously, is that when someone is labeled high risk, the tool is correct only 52% of the time. That is barely better than a coin flip, and half the time the tool says someone's high risk is going to be wrong. But it goes deeper than that. If you zoom into what high risk means, it means being convicted of any offense. Because when the commission tried to predict who would commit a violent offense, the accuracy rate was so bad, so much less than 52%, that it was decided that you couldn't use it. We appreciate that level of intellectual honesty, but the concern is that if someone is labeled high risk, what we assume that means is danger. But when 9 out of 10 of arrests in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania are not for a violent felony, only 1 out of 10 arrests in the Commonwealth are for a violent felony, if there are 100 times this risk rules applied, 50 of them are going to be wrong. Of the 50 that are right, likely only 5 are actually right in that the person's going to commit a violent offense. How can a judge be expected to use that information reliably when it is so unreliable? The one thing that the tool can do is predict who is very unlikely to ever predict a crime again in the future. The commission could have decided to simply use that scale that satisfies the mandate, and it does the one thing it can accurately do. However, the insistence upon continuing to label people high risk, despite the problems that it's likely going to create and perpetuate, that is what is most troubling, I think, at this point, in addition to the fact that gender is still being used as a factor, even though constitutionally it's not permissible to be able to be used, even if it seems somehow related. This tool, even if it's adopted, is going to be tied up likely in levels of litigation that are not even going to allow it to be implemented. But I want to tell a personal story because so many people here are doing the same thing, and I don't feel like I should only be speaking from a lofty policy perspective. When I was a child, my dad got sick when I was 12 years old of a disease that's genetic, and he died when I was 14. Taking care of him before I started high school, I was convinced that I was going to get sick and die of the same thing. 3 years ago, I found a way to get tested. I got tested to find out if I had the same genetic,
predisposition.
Thank you, predisposition. It's hard to talk about things that are this personal, so I appreciate everyone doing it. But that I had that same gene, and I do. With 99.9% certainty, I will get the illness that killed my father. So what has that done for me? All I wanted was to know the reality of what would happen to me in the future. I understand the desire for certainty. But what it's done is not what I thought it would do. I thought it would liberate me. It hasn't. My habits are far less healthy because I think I'm going to die anyway. Now, I don't know when it's going to happen. And I could die of something else before. Death is already a certainty. So what does this actually teach me? I continue to search for that answer because I honestly don't know what I've learned. But I know the effect it's had on me. It makes life far more difficult, and I don't take care of myself anymore in the same way I used to. And so I tell that story not to engender sympathy, but to make the point that sometimes in an attempt to predict the future and gain certainty, we create the very future that we have been afraid of. That's what I believe would happen if we start labeling people high risk.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.